Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Maria Paula Correa of the Libra Group and formerly of Concordia.
Good afternoon, everyone. To understand Concordia, you have to understand the foundation of the power duo, Matt and Nick, two high schoolers at a boarding school in Connecticut who saw their classmates frustrated with limited and overpriced cafeteria food and turned that problem into a $350,000 snack business. Its success didn't come from just selling burgers or shakes. It came from having a vision for streamlining operations, simplifying menus, and building suppliers' relationships. Believe it or not, all of that at the age of 17. That was their first company. Years later, they channeled that same drive and imagination into creating Concordia. I met Matt and Nick back in 2011 in a television studio at Rockefeller Center where Morning Joe was filmed. It was the opening activity for the first ever Concordia Summit, and the duo had invited 3 former presidents to come. One of those, Álvaro Uribe, who asked me to accompany him. None of us could have ever imagined we will be here today celebrating 15 years of what seemed like a one-off summit event. I am very proud to say I have attended, worked, or participated in all of the 15 summits Concordia has ever organized alongside the United Nations General Assembly. And after attending the first 2, I saw the organization's potential, and I remember thinking, this is where I want to keep building my career. Joining Concordia wasn't immediate. Like any good entrepreneurs, Matt and Nick knew how to steer a negotiation in their favor. We went back and forth for months until we finally reached an agreement that allowed me to be part of the Concordia team. That persistence on both sides set the tone for the work we were about to build together. I joined Concordia right after its 3rd annual summit in New York as Director of Special Projects. At that time, the team was only 5 people. Because of the intensity of the work, we became like a family. Everyone did everything that needed to be done, no matter how. From those early days as a team of 5, Concordia has grown into a team of over 30 people today, still very little to what they put together. A reflection of the same expansion that we saw with its leadership council that I oversaw. From the beginning, the council had been made up of former heads of state, global leaders, but Latin America wasn't part of the table. So we set out to change that. I started by reaching out to people I had worked with during my first time in the Colombian government. I called former presidents, former ministers, colleagues, and advisors I trusted. I traveled to Mexico, to Chile, to present the vision of Concordia face to face. I met with Presidents Calderón and Piñera, and I still remember how carefully we prepared their agendas, panel roles, and talking points. And when they said yes to taking part in the Leadership Council, I knew we had taken a big step in the right direction. Eventually, we welcomed leaders from Costa Rica, Uruguay, Bolivia, Colombia, and beyond. Over the years, Concordia's Leadership Council came to include not only heads of state from Latin America, like Laura Chinchilla, Luis Alberto Lacalle, Jorge Tuto Quiroga, but also global figures from UNESCO's Irina Bokova to the CEO of Coca-Cola, Mutter Kent, or academic leaders like Eduardo Padrón. Of course, the hardest part wasn't the invitations, it was the logistics. Imagine trying to get all these world leaders to land in New York on the same 2 days. That was a full-time job by itself. But somehow, every year, we pull it off and created long-lasting relationships. When I eventually left Concordia, the Leadership Council had grown from 10 to 32 members, an extraordinary evolution that continues to guide and expand the organization's horizons. The next big challenge was clear. We had to bring Concordia to Latin America. That meant launching Concordia Americas. The first edition took place in Miami in 2016, at a time when the humanitarian crisis in Venezuela was deepening. Still sounds familiar. That summit became one of the first international platforms to raise global awareness about the situation. It was powerful, emotional, and it reaffirmed why these works matter. After a visit George Logotheris, Concordia's chairman of its leadership council, made to Colombia, my country, it was chosen to host the next Concordia America Summit, and we got to work with local partners. On February 2017, we hosted the second edition of Concordia Americas in Bogotá. That summit was a milestone. And in true Concordia spirit, the stage brought together former presidents Andrés Pastrana, Álvaro Uribe, and sitting president Juan Manuel Santos, all in one room, when the relationship between them was, to say the least, tense, and it still is. That moment reminded me of something that's always been in the core of Concordia, its nonpartisan nature. The ability to create space for dialogue, even across political lines. Not just in the US, but wherever we went. When I shifted to the 2018 Colombian presidential campaign, Concordia remained front and center for me. As my days filled with politics, Concordia stayed frontline, and it still is today through my work at Libra and as an advisor to Concordia. You know, I've always said, I didn't inherit Matt and Nick's entrepreneurial gene. I admire it, I really do. But what I do have is the heart to get behind a vision and believe in it and help it grow. Concordia has been one of the most meaningful projects in my life, personally and professionally. I've often called it my child, and I truly mean that. I've even seen it crawl, walk, trip, run, and now fly. Standing here today at Concordia's 15th Summit, I feel an overwhelming sense of pride, watching it grow in directions I never imagined. But more importantly, I see the foundation we've all helped to build, an entrepreneurial vision applied to solving global challenges. As we look ahead, Concordia isn't just celebrating 15 years of convening leaders. We are positioned to tackle the next 15 years of bringing together the partnerships, innovation, and dialogue our world desperately needs. Thank you all for being part of this journey. I hope you all continue to enjoy these 3 days. Take it all in as you're partaking in something that was once only a dream. Thank you very much.